introduction. Actually, thank you all for coming today. I know it's a Saturday, and I'm quite pleased to see so many people here actually willing to come and listen to us. And honestly speaking, I don't know what I'm presenting. I didn't prepare a script, so I'm going to talk looking at the slides myself. So I'm hearing my own talk for the first time. So if there are any others or whatever, I was going to blame it on jet lag. So do that. Okay. Now, first thing first. I'm not going to talk about sustainable development from an academic perspective. That I think, and I'm sure with all the PhDs and the masters you have here, and I know some of you are undergraduates, but I'm not going to talk about sustainable development from the academic perspective. I'm going to look at it from a historical perspective, which is my favorite subject, if you're keeping up with my blog. And also some from personal perspective, probably there are issues and things which you have not realized. And sustainable development is such a large topic that it is not fair, probably if I was to cover all of them. So what I will do is I will mention some of the general national issues which I thought are relevant. But I will focus specifically on issues related to Ministry of Development, which is where I work. So I think, and you'll be surprised, I think, if you have not been working in Ministry of Development, just to see how the national issues there are that we cover. Just like you, way back in 1997, I remember when I did my master's at Harvard, around this time of the year. It was March, it was just going into Easter holidays, and I was looking forward to going back. And I said, hey, spent a whole year in America. America is a much colder place than it is here in England, that much I can assure you. It was so cold that, that I thought, okay, I've earned my punishment, it's time to go back. And when I come back to Brunei, I was immediately transferred to the Ministry of Finance. I was asked to head the income tax unit. I know for some of you the word income tax is quite a surprise. We do have a revenue division in the Ministry of Finance. In fact, that's where all the money comes to pay for your education, to pay for my education, even to pay for my ticket to come here. But whatever it is, the Asian financial crisis started quietly. Maybe not so quietly, but it was a lot of people. It took a lot of people by surprise. It started in Thailand. I think I won't go into the economics of it, but basically it was a loss of confidence in Thailand. The currencies dropped, and there was a lot of loss of confidence in the other countries around the region as well. And I remember I used to park my car. The Ministry of Finance now was at the old IBB building, which is now the BIBD building. And we used to park our car at the customs headquarters. So you have to walk from there all the way to the BIBD building. And along the walk, the good thing along the way, you have to walk along the shops, just like here. I quite enjoyed it actually every morning to walk along the shops. But what was interesting at that point in time was actually to watch all the money changes. Every day you see the money, you see the exchange rate go down. And it was quite scary because the exchange rate was going down from, I remember, $1.60 Malaysian ringgit to $1 Brunei. I think it went down to about $2.50, and even at some stages it was almost going to $3. And there was such a scary time for those countries. And in Brunei we were still quite okay, nothing was happening just yet. And then suddenly we had our own financial crisis. Probably our financial crisis was a bit quiet. I will not, this is not probably the area to talk about it, but it did happen in Brunei. But what was worse in Brunei was not the financial crisis. What was worse was the oil price collapse. The oil price before the financial crisis was about $27, $26 a barrel. And then during 1997, 98, it went down to about $10 a barrel. Now you don't know how, I don't know whether you know, but the point I'm trying to make here, at $10 a barrel, we were making about $1.6 billion a year. And the government revenue at $1.6 billion a year barely covered anything. Our own salary was $1.4 billion a year. So we only had about $200 million left to pay for other things. And with the crisis, we didn't know who we were going to be dependent on. And I remember, well, because of my job, that every day we were checking the price of oil, and we were calculating every day how much money we were going to have. Do we have enough to pay for the next payment voucher? Do we have enough to pay for the next? And it was not a good time to be there. And then, I think in 1998, the El Nino, and haze was like, starting again now, but coupled with the financial crisis, coupled with the haze, it was just a very scary time to be there. And it's not something that I would like to go through again. And something that I would like to repeat again and again is that the importance of sustainable development, the importance of us not being too dependent on one thing, because this will happen again. And it did, and it has happened not long ago. You look at Brunei's history. We were mentioned in Brunei, we were mentioned in the China's annals more than 1,500 years ago. That's how old Brunei is. And if you read through the Chinese records, you will see the same thing happening. Well, one time they were describing us like one of the richest nations in the world. At one time we were so poor that even the king was not wearing anything. And it was like a roller coaster of wealth and poverty, even in the 1,100 years ago. But I think the golden era came about when Malacca fell, and basically all the Islamic traders started trading on Brunei side and so on. And that was about, I think that was the best time we had. It was about 500 years ago, I would say the golden era of the Sultan Bolkiah, Sultan Hassan. We controlled the whole of Borneo. That's how big we were. We even went to Manila to fight against the Spanish. Not many countries can do that. You can't even imagine us now going anywhere to fight anything, but there we were. We were in Manila. The Spanish came to Brunei, burned down our mosque. We went there and attacked them. Those were the kinds of things we were doing. But by the 18th century, we started to decline again. And this time the decline was worse. By the end, we lost so many things. We lost the southern of Borneo, we lost Sarawak, we lost practically everything. And by the end of the 19th century, the British was almost ready to give us up. They didn't even know which country they wanted. They had the choice of giving us back to the Raja of Sarawak, or put us under the North Borneo Company of the Sabah. And that was how bad we were. We were really like at the point of dissolution. Brunei was not going to exist anymore. But we were lucky. We had a very strong Sultan, Sultan Hashim. And we were lucky because we had Mr. MacArthur, who was the first British resident in Brunei. He came to Brunei, he did a report in Brunei, and he said, this country is worth saving. They are poor, probably one of the poorest countries in the world at that point in time, if ever there was a record kept. But the British was kind enough, probably in that sense, they kept us alive. But what they wanted to do was, how are you going to pay for us? How are you going to pay for the British resident that we're going to put, to help you look after Brunei? And luckily enough, we found oil. We found oil. In 1929, we found commercial. We found oil a lot earlier, actually. We found oil in 1899. But it wasn't in commercial quantity until 1929.